Namaskaram students, welcome back. Today let us continue with political science. Lesson number 4, Key Elements of a Democratic Government. Children, in a previous class we have already learnt about South Africa. That is, South Africa is a country that has people of various races. There are black people who belong to South Africa and whites who came there to settle, and Indians who came there as laborers or traders. And earlier South Africa, it was governed by apartheid laws. Apartheid means separation on the basis of race. That is, South African people, they were divided into whites, black, Indian and colored races. And the apartheid laws, they did not allow these races to mingle with each other. That is, they did not allow the people to mix with each other, and they did not allow them to live near each other or even to use common facilities. And an ambulance that was meant for white people, it would always be well equipped, while one meant for the black people was not. And the bus stops, trains and buses, they were different for black people and for white people. And non-whites, they had no right to vote. Thus, there were many differences between the living conditions of whites and non-whites. And we also learned about the story of Hector Peterson. That is, Hector Peterson, he lived in the southwestern township, that is Soweto, a black township. And he and his classmates joined to protest against the learning of Afrikaans language that was forced to them to learn. Instead, they wanted to learn their own language, that was Zulu. So, South African police, they beat these people mercilessly, and one of the bullets, it shot Hector Peterson, and he was killed on 16 June 1976. Hence, African National Congress, it started a struggle against the apartheid system under the leadership of Nelson Mandela, and finally in 1994 they succeeded and they became a democratic country where all the people of all the races, they were considered equal. And we also learnt about participation. That is, people, they make the decisions in the democracy, and there are fixed periods for the governments that are elected. And in India, once the government is elected, then it can stay in power for 5 years. Thus, people, they participate in the process of government by casting their votes to elect the representatives of their choice. Children, today we shall learn about other ways of participating and need to resolve participation. Now children, let us see what are the other ways of participating. We know that elections, they are usually held once in 5 years, and besides voting, there are other ways of participating in the process of government. And people, they can participate by taking an interest in the working of the government and by criticizing it when required. Here we can take an example. In August 2005, when a particular government increased the money people had to pay for electricity, then the people, they expressed their disapproval very sharply. So what did they do? These people, they took out rallies and also organized a signature campaign. So children, what does this mean? That people, they should take interest about the things that are taken by the government, what laws, what decisions they are making for the people. Here an example is given, that is, in August 2005, when a particular government, it increased the money the people, they had to pay for electricity. So the people, they expressed their disapproval. What did they do? They took out the rallies and they organized a signature campaign. And the government, what did it do? the government it tried to explain and defend its decision, but finally it listened to the people's opinion and withdrew the increase. That means the government had to change its decision. Why? Because it is responsible to the people. That means if the people they are against the particular decision or particular law that is made by the government, then the people they can criticize the government, and the government it has to change its decisions because it is responsible to the people. And children, there are many ways in which the people they can express their views and they can make the governments understand what actions they should take. So for this, what do these people do? These include dharnas, rallies, strikes, signature campaigns, etc. That means the people they can express their views and their disapproval on unfair and unjust decisions, and they can make government understand what actions they should take, and they can express these by dharnas, rallies, strikes, signature campaigns, etc. Children, signature campaign means to support any public issue by collecting millions of signatures, that is signs of majority of the people. So this means signature campaign. And the things that are unfair and unjust, they are also brought forward. By whom? They can be brought forward by newspapers, magazines and television. And you might have seen how they discuss the government issues and responsibilities, and how the government it can work for the welfare of the people. And children, we know that in a democracy all people they are allowed to participate, but it is true that all sections of the people they are actually not able to do so. So the another way for people to participate is by organizing themselves into social movements that seek to challenge the government and its functioning. So children, what is another way for people to participate? Another way for people to participate is by organizing themselves into social movements. And members of the minority community, dalits, adivasis, women and others, they are often able to participate in this manner. And if a country's people they are alert and interested in how the country is run, then the democratic character of the government of the country will be stronger. That means the minority community, dalits, adivasis, women and others, they can also participate in the working of the government, and by social movements they can seek and challenge the government and its functioning. And for a strong democratic government of a country, it is important that its people they are alert and interested in how the country is run. That means the people they should know what actions, laws and decisions are made by the government, and if they feel that these are not good for the people, then they can organize rallies, strikes, signature campaigns, etc. Now let us learn the next topic, that is need to resolve conflict. Children, in Maya stories you read about how conflicts can often lead to violence and death. Why? Because one group it decides that it is all right to use force and to prevent the other group from protesting. So this means that conflicts they occur when people of different cultures, religions, regions or economic backgrounds, that is rich or poor, they do not get along with each other, or when some among them they feel that they are being discriminated against. So in this case people, they may use violent means to settle their differences, and this leads to fear and tension among others that are living in an area. So, it is the government who is responsible for helping to resolve conflicts. So, when do conflicts occur? Conflicts occur when people of different cultures, religions, regions or economic backgrounds, they do not get along with each other and they feel that they are being discriminated against. And sometimes the people, to settle their differences, they may use the violent means, and this will lead to fear and tension among all the people that are living in that area. So the government is responsible for helping to resolve these conflicts. And children, we know that the Indian Constitution lays down the basic rules or laws that have to be followed by everyone, and these laws are for both, that is, it is for the government as well as for the people, and the conflicts and the differences, they have to be resolved according to these laws. That means the rules or laws that are given in the Indian Constitution, they are meant for both, that is for the government and for the people to follow, and the conflicts and the differences, they can be resolved according to these laws. Children, what can lead to conflicts? Here we can see that religious processions and celebrations, they can sometimes lead to conflicts. For example, the route a procession takes may lead to a conflict. So the government, that is particularly the police, they play an important role in getting the representatives of concerned communities to meet and try and arrive at a solution. Children, you might have seen some religious processions and celebrations on the roads, and sometimes the route that procession is taking, this may lead to a conflict. So it is very important for the government, that is particularly the police, they can ask the representatives of those concerned communities. They can meet and they can try and arrive at a solution. And at times there is fear that violence may erupt, with people throwing stones or trying to disrupt the procession. So the police is responsible for ensuring that violence does not take place. So who is responsible for ensuring that violence does not take place? The police is responsible for ensuring that violence does not take place. Now children, let's recap what we have learned in today's lesson. Children, today we learned about other ways of participation. That is, people also participate by taking an interest in the working of the government and by criticizing it when required. And here an example was given when the government, it had increased the electricity bill, so the people, they took out rallies and also organized a signature campaign, and the government, it had to change its decision. Why? Because it was responsible to the people. And there are many ways in which people can express their views against government's wrong decisions by holding dharnas, rallies, strikes, signature campaigns, etc. And newspapers, magazines and television, they also play a role in discussing government issues and responsibilities. That is, the things that are unfair and unjust, they can be brought forward by newspapers, magazines and television. And another way for people to participate is by organizing themselves into social movements and seek to challenge the government and its functioning. And we also learned about need to resolve conflict. That is, conflicts occur when people of different cultures, religions, regions or economic backgrounds, they do not get along with each other, or when some among them, they feel that they are being discriminated against. So, the government is responsible for helping to resolve conflicts. And here we saw an example, that is, religious processions and celebrations can sometimes lead to conflicts, and at times there is fear that violence may erupt. So the police is responsible for ensuring that violence does not take place. Children, we shall continue with this topic with another example in our next class. Now children, let's have a quiz. Multiple choice questions. First one. In India, the government is elected for the period of dash. A. 2 years. B. 5 years. C. 6 years. D. 3 years. What's the correct answer? Correct. B. 5 years. In India, the government is elected for the period of 5 years. Second one. Who is responsible for helping to resolve conflicts? A. Government. B. People. C. Community. D. None of these. What's the correct answer? Yes. A. Government. Government is responsible for helping to resolve conflicts. Third one. Who plays a role in discussing government issues and responsibilities? A. Newspapers. B. Magazines. C. Television or TV. D. All of the above. What's the correct answer? Yes. D. All of the above. So, newspapers, magazines and TV, that is television, they play a role in discussing government issues and responsibilities. Children, we shall continue with this lesson in our next class. Till then, goodbye children.